Arthur Balfour is the foreign secretary back in Britain. He's being heavily worked on by Zionists. They're, the Jewish lobby is talking to him.
They're whining and dining him.
Arthur Balfour goes, I say, oh boy, the British government now expresses its support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people.
Does history repeat itself, or does it just rhyme?
This is the podcast where a guy who knows his history talks to a guy who doesn't know it at all. The self-appointed greatest historian ever
and his BFF Jono present History Rhymes.
Welcome to the History Rhymes podcast. We are here to talk about how history rhymes and connecting the dots from the past to the present as best we can. We're not always the best at it, but we certainly try. And you know what? I'm no expert, and Tom certainly is, so make sure that you hold him accountable for everything that's said on this podcast and all of its accuracy, but not me. I don't know anything. So we're here today to talk to probably one of the most prolific children's authors of our time.
Ask me how many books I have on Amazon right now.
How many books do you have on Amazon?
74.
Are you serious?
I'm not. I am.
Yeah, I know you are. You do.
Yeah,
and
but
how
only
many,
like 50 of them sell every day.
How long? Well, I mean, you're in the volume game, you know. You are probably the most prolific children's author of all time.
I only started writing in July.
Yeah.
We're today we're going to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the history and we're going to talk about all of history, but we're going to talk about mainly
Lots
the 20th
going
century.
on there.
Lots going on. So we'll get into that in a second. But after this, we'll do maybe probably 2 episodes on this. We are going to, I think, get back into the Crusades. And this is going to be my big children's series I'm working on. I'm taking a long time to work on it. It's going to be a 6-book series on the Crusades for children. Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to that as a child that I am at heart.
Well, you have a child at heart and in your hairless body. So
I have a child at heart. I don't. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I'm a father at heart.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually one. The History of Rhymes podcast is brought to you by the Speakeasy Podcast Studio, where the speaking is easy and the bevies go down squeezy.
Like Gatorade.
Yeah, that's right. In our mugs.
Check out speakeasypodcast.ca.
It's at the bottom of the screen. Check it out.
I have 4 books for you to fondle. And I was really excited to give you this one, which I stole from my school library.
Oh, nice. Well, what are libraries for but to steal
for theft?
From? Yeah.
This is Reuters.
It's a victimless crime.
Don't touch that one.
Sorry.
No, you can touch that one.
Yeah, okay.
It's like
a library.
Well, and it's all pictures.
Oh man, I love it.
So it's Reuters
it's
magazine.
All just pop-ups of various types of
yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Walls.
I saw that and I said, Jono loves pictures.
Look at this. That's an action shot if I ever saw one.
You don't have to show all the pictures, but yeah, there you go.
Look at that,
there
folks.
You go. Okay.
Buy this book or steal it, better yet, today. Why is there a man lying between traffic?
Well, we'll get there. So, okay, so like I plugged last time with
it's very much like people of New York.
Yeah. No, they're in Jerusalem, but now
right.
Sometimes
mix
that
them up.
shows he's like, oh, there's Jews. It must be New York.
Isn't that the Empire State Building?
So like I said last time, this book here, I cannot pump it up enough. History of the Modern Middle East by William Cleveland covers everything you really need to know.
Literature.
So you can I reread the section on Iran to review for our last podcast. I reread the section on Israel. So you can take a look at that. But I also love this book here. It's Jerusalem, a biography.
Oh.
And
written
it's by
the people of Jerusalem.
Not at all, but Simon Sebag Montefiore. And it's cool because it's called a biography, which is supposed to be like a story of someone's life, as if Jerusalem is a living city.
I would have called this The Count of Montefiore.
Yeah, that's a...
Wouldn't that have been nice?
I don't know why I bring these.
I'm a writer. Like, these guys, they're supposed to be writers. Why can't they come up with cool titles?
They're like, it's a book about Jerusalem, but you want to call it The Count of Montefiore, and that's your name.
That's the name.
Well,
now
I did
gotta
pick
put yourself out there. This is
pick,
wonderful illustrations.
It's beautiful. It's AI.
Yeah.
And I picked up this book, A Very Short History of the Israel-Palestine Conflict by Alain Papé. And I grabbed it quickly because I was like, oh, it'd be nice to do a quick refresher on my 20th century Israel-Palestine. This is just a extremely pro-Palestine book. Okay. So this is going to be the trouble we're going to navigate. It's probably not a more controversial topic that we'll talk about than the Israel-Palestine conflict.
I didn't sign up for controversy. I got to go to work tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you know, for me as a teacher, there's just no risk.
There's no risk,
but for you, as whatever you do, you know, you're at work. Yeah. Well, I'll say all the controversial stuff. In fact,
neutral,
we're actually going to
Switzerland.
We are going to aim to just teach the history here. It's going to be similar to Iran. It's going to be a survey and kind of what people should know.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a kid's birthday party a few weeks ago, and there was a gentleman there, and I started talking to him, and he goes...
He said, "Who are you, and what are you doing
here?"
I
go, "Why are you at this?" He was a friend of the family I was at, and we started talking, and of course politics came up, and the guy goes, "Well, you know, the Jews control everything." Oh. And I was like, well, we're 30 minutes into this 4-year-old birthday party, all right? And I said, okay, that's interesting because I've been hearing this
Children
a lot.
gather around.
Yeah. Kids, let's hear about how the Jews control everything.
Yeah.
No, and it's actually a very concerning thing. I've been hearing a lot more from my students are much more aware of kind of the state of Israel. We're hearing a lot more online of a lot of anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Israel is currently fighting multiple wars, and with Iran, and of course they are doing extremely violent things in Gaza. And so why don't we start there with October 7th, and then we'll kind of go back to the 19th. Well, actually, we'll go back to the beginning and see. We'll go from there. But it was interesting because I was talking to this guy at this birthday party, and I said, okay, where do you get this idea that the Jews are controlling everything? And what Jews? Like, who are the Jews?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, and I was like, well, have you heard of, like, the Balfour Declaration? He's like, well, and I was like, what about, like, the 6-Day War of 1967? 6-7? And I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, just, and his brain was so rotten he could barely speak by this point.
He's not a history podcast fan.
No, don't worry, he'll be fine.
Yeah, we're blurring out our faces.
I don't even remember who he is,
exist.
to be honest. I literally just remember this conversation.
That's fair.
And so finally, I started talking to him about 20th century history. His eyes kind of glazed over, and he was like, "Well, I gotta go." And then he just walked away. He was too bored to listen for like 30 seconds.
Right.
As I asked questions. So this is part of the reason I want to do this podcast is people are saying extremely controversial things, mostly because they're hearing it from influencers, they're hearing it from YouTubers who are just like,
or they're on X.
Or on X, there's like, oh, the Jews are controlling everything.
A lot going on there.
Or free Palestine or all this stuff. And it's also heated, and people don't really know the history, like, at all. Like any of it. And so we're going to try and peel back some layers. We're not going to get into who controls what and who has actually a right to the land. That can be for the listeners to decide. One thing I do with my students when I'm teaching this in History 12 is every kind of 4th or 5th slide as I'm going through the story, I just say, okay, and whose land is it now? And as we go through the story, and people will be kind of like, well, I guess it would, under that saying, it would be the Palestinians. And then it'd be like, well, I guess the Jews kind of, and you watch as it's just going to go back and forth. And already people will be going, no, it's just Palestine, or it's just, the Jews. And
right.
So let's start
from the beginning.
Well, let's start. I thought we'd do kind of a Quentin Tarantino thing.
Oh, okay.
Where we'll
start at the end or start in the middle.
We'll start in the best part of the story.
Yeah, we're
the third quarter of the way through.
Yeah, well, where did Kill Bill start?
The third act.
Right.
So October 7th, 2023.
What's your favorite Quentin Tarantino film?
Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards is fantastic, but the ending still drives me nuts. I do, because you're like, but that's
he loves alternate historical.
I do. I actually really like both Kill Bills, like watching them together.
They're good.
That was the first Quentin Tarantino movie I ever watched.
That's same for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Good film.
Yeah.
Very
What's
violent.
your favorite one, John?
Oh,
Jackie Brown.
No,
I hate that film.
What is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film? I guess I'd say probably Kill Bill, to a degree, but it was a bit gratuitous in its violence, but
cartoonish,
yeah, but it was comical at the same time. It was a bit of a seminal kind of film for me, I guess, experience.
I think we went to it together in like grade 10.
I feel like I watched it at home though. I don't remember watching it in
Never
theaters.
mind.
Inglourious Bastards is good too, though. That's probably I'd say that's probably one of the favorites.
I just showed
It's one of the
I showed a clip of it to my students yesterday.
two. People would probably slag us though for not picking I don't know
Pulp
Reservoir
Fiction.
Dogs or Pulp Fiction.
Reservoir Dogs.
I did watch Pulp Fiction. I thought it was pretty good. It was
Talk about gratuitous. It's fine. It's good. It's got some great scenes. I think it's whatever.
I'm a big fan of the one with the chick with the gun leg. What was
Machete?
that? No. Remember he did that 2-part film series?
Yeah, it's like Kill Machine.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember. Anyways, history. Enough of Quentin Tarantino. We'll cut this part out.
Well, we'll go. That's what we're doing with our
But
stories.
it rhymes with what we're doing.
It is.
Quentin
We're using his
Tarantino.
format.
Yeah.
Okay, so the morning of October 7th, 2023, Hamas, okay, the political group in Gaza, financially backed by Iran, launched a large-scale surprise attack from Gaza into southern Israel. They used rocket barrages. They used, remember, bulldozers were pushing down the walls and everything. They assaulted civilians at music festivals. Horrifying things. Approximately 1,200 people were killed in Israel. And then about 240 were taken hostage. Israel then responds by, and we'll see, this is Israel's, this is what they do. It's like if you attack Israel, you need to be prepared that they will attack you 20 times, 30 times, 50 times harder, right? They have to do a disproportionate response. So Israel responds with a declaration of war against Hamas and then a sustained military campaign in Gaza. I don't know the actual, it's very hard to get an accurate death toll of who has died and how many people have died in the war in Gaza. Last I checked, it was around 40,000, but we, of course, don't get, Hamas is the one releasing the numbers. We know, of course, that the way Hamas fights in Gaza, they put their bases around schools and hospitals, and so it's very difficult to actually get at them. So we have to go, okay, how did we get here? I'm just explaining this to be like, how did we get here to where it just seems like there's a constant state of war? So, okay, where does the term Jew come from?
That's a good question. And that's why I'm signed up to take this course and community service.
All right, so
where does the term Jew come from?
So the 10 tribes of Israel that are wiped out by the Assyrians, there's 2 tribes left over, one of which is Judah. And so they call themselves the Judahites. And over time, that name, they get shortened, it evolves. I mean, a variety of languages, whether it's Yiddish or German or whatever, that slowly evolves into Jewish people.
Right.
Now, so we are going to have to, we'll spend a bit of time, it's in the ancient world, and we're going to work our way up very quickly through the last 3,000 years. But it's interesting because when we talk about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, it's not necessarily a religious conflict, although there's religious undertones. You know, much of the current day Israelis who are fighting are atheist. Many of the Palestinians are of course Muslim, but there's Christian Palestinians. There's all sorts of different people. Not all Palestinians are Muslim, and not all Arabs are Palestinian. Not all Arabs are Muslim. It's a very complex thing. So there is a religious aspect to this, especially when we go back to, some people will trace this all the way back to Genesis, where there's Abraham and he has his 2 sons, right?
Jacob and Elijah.
Perfect. Ishmael and Isaac. I'll stop asking you questions. Did you say Jacob and Elijah? I panicked.
I just threw it out there.
David and Bathsheba.
You throw out a name. We need an answer fast. It's about speed, not about accuracy.
Abraham, of course, is like
it's throwing stuff at the wall.
you got content. It was out. Right?
Yeah, I threw out Jacob, and then I thought Elijah Wood's a nice guy.
He was good enough for Frodo. Yeah, he's not good enough for this podcast. We will go through the mines.
Yeah, we love a good Lord of the Rings reference. No, I just threw out random biblical character names.
And it was good, and you were close.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't even remember who you at.
Okay, so Abraham. Remember, God has promised Abraham that like a nation will come from his loins, his seed, and so he takes it into his own hands because he's like, I'm 95, my wife's even older, And although she must have been beautiful, Sarai, at that point, but so he
Was
then,
she actually older than him?
no, they were about the same age. But
Oh, okay.
so he lays with his he has sex with his wife's maidservant Hagar. Okay,
All right.
Hagar, hardly knew her, and and has Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
And Ishmael's a beast of a man.
Yeah.
And but then God's like, what? Weird? No, that's not. You weren't supposed to do that. So then he's like, fine, I'll have sex with my wife. So he lays with his wife.
Yeah.
And I'm summarizing. And then he has Isaac. So from
Can
Ishmael.
we go back to the sex part?
Okay, so when a man loves a woman very much,
I think we need to break that down.
when a man loves a woman very much,
Yeah.
he says,
All right, let's move on. I don't
and
have
then
time
9
for
months later, a
this.
baby's born.
Yeah.
And,
Every time I hear the name Ishmael, I just think of the Simpsons, Moby Dick for Dummies.
Mhm.
Call me Ishmael, dummy.
it's good that the biblical reference takes you directly to The Simpsons.
Most of my life is Simpsons references and maybe Arrested Development.
I'm glad your parents paid for that private Christian school.
Just
and you
so I-
learned
all I
that
can
you
remember.
so that as an adult, you could be like, who are Abraham's kids? You're like, call me Ishmael, dummy.
Hey, all my hit Simpsons fans out there are just like, yes.
Like, finally, enough
Yeah.
of this Abraham
It's like,
crap.
get to the fun
unless it's
stuff.
Homer's dad.
I
Abe
listen to this.
Simpson.
I listen for the sleep and the laughs that I get. Yeah, it's great. You're putting them to sleep. I'm waking them up with the Simpsons
I don't know if it
jokes.
needs to be like that. I don't know if it needs to be that hurtful.
Tom, this is so boring.
We haven't even got into it.
Get to the other
Holy
stuff.
crap! So
I'm
from
just kidding. I'm
Ishmael-
engaged. I love it.
from Ishmael, there's the Ishmaelites. People, legends say like that's where the Arabs come from.
Yeah.
Okay. From Isaac come the Jews, right?
Right.
'Cause, there's Isaac, and then he has Jacob and Esau. Then there's Jacob. He has
right.
the 12
See,
tribes.
that's where I mixed it up.
got
I mixed
Esau
up
and
Esau
Elijah.
with Elijah.
So okay, so around so we have the Arabs and we have the Jews, okay? And around
Yeah.
1000 BC, it's King David who establishes Jerusalem as his capital, right?
Yep.
This we have in the Bible as the capital of ancient Israel.
Right.
In 586, the Babylonians conquer Jerusalem and they
Mhm.
destroy the first temple.
Right.
Then very quickly, the Persians, our old friends, the Persians, they take over, and they're going to rule it for about 200 years.
Yeah.
And they're, of course, going to remember Cyrus the Great. This is in the Bible as well. Cyrus the Great is going to give the finances for the Jews to rebuild. They're going to build the second temple.
Right.
Then through Alexander the Great, our old friend.
Yeah.
See, all this
We
stuff is
love
coming
him.
back. Alexander
Yeah.
the Great.
I
he
just
is,
saw Caesar's statue
Yeah.
in this book as well.
Yeah. So Alexander the Great and his successors are going to conquer and rule Israel. And so you have the Babylonians, you have the Persians, you have the Greeks. Then, of course, the Romans will come. Pompey the Great, Caesar's old rival,
Yeah.
buddy and rival. He will conquer Jerusalem in 63 BC.
Why is okay? Finish the list. Finish
Yeah,
the
let me get through that.
conquerors
So, and then we'll stop at a point. So then, of course, in 69 AD, is that right? In 69 AD, the Jews revolt,
list. Mm-hmm.
and then under the Emperor Vespasian, but his son Titus, they destroy Jerusalem and the Second Temple. So all that's left is the Western Wall, and that's now where Jews go to worship in the temple complex. Okay, so you have Rome then crush them. The Western Empire falls in 476 around that time. So the Byzantines rule Jerusalem. By that point, they're Christian, right? And they've built the Holy Sepulchre, which is the holiest church. It's supposed to be on the mount, like where Christ died. So now it's not just a Jewish city, but it's also a Christian city. And then things get complicated
Oh.
because in the middle, 630, 638, these aggressive empires these armies burst out of Arabia. And they start conquering North Africa, and they're conquering everywhere. So the Arab empires and we'll talk about them more when we talk about the Crusades. So they conquered Jerusalem in the 630s from the Byzantine Empire, right? And they'll rule it for 4 centuries. Generally, Christians were allowed to go and as a pilgrimage there.
Right.
But in the middle of the 11th century, the Seljuk Turks, which are a nomadic group, they come from Asia. They're Muslim. They take it from the Arabs, and they generally block pilgrims from getting there. The Seljuks will attack the Byzantines. They'll ask for help. That will launch the Crusades.
So why is this such a focal point? Why does everybody want a piece of this? Is it the beach?
Jerusalem. Well, there's
Yeah.
no water. So
No, I mean like Israel in general. This is this plot of land, this area.
yeah, this very small plot of land.
It's not big. Like, why is everybody coming there?
So that's
know?
why, when modern scholars say, well, this is actually more of a political issue than a religious one,
Mm-hmm.
just what I've told you there, there's the two biggest religions, and then Judaism, it all means something to them, right? So in Islam,
Is it particularly, from a resource perspective, very lucrative?
no, it's okay. I mean, it's got certain...
It's more of the cultural significance of it.
The Middle East, especially in the Middle Ages, there's the Silk Road, right? It's the path to India and China and all these rich resources there.
Right.
So it's very wealthy,
So
right?
it's like right off the road, real convenient.
Right off the road.
Yeah.
But it would not have been. It was more the religious significance, right? There's wealth to be had there, but it's a very small amount of territory.
But
you
for
have
all of these different cultures that have different religions.
Well, they're just conquering the same empire. So, like they're conquering the Persian Empire. They're ruling from India all the way to Turkey, and Israel's just part of that empire.
Right.
It's on the way to Egypt, right, which is a very important place. It's on the
Right.
way to the Fertile Crescent, right, in Iraq, which is an important place.
Right.
So it's kind of on the way to everywhere
So
important.
it's like a 2-star Michelin restaurant.
Jeez.
Or is that a 1-star? Or it's like it's worth the stop on the way to your destination.
Well, it's funny because like Jerusalem itself.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be
Jerusalem itself.
disrespectful.
Jerusalem itself is not in a good strategic position. To the
Yeah.
point where, like, there's times in the Crusades where some Muslim, Frederick II, the emperor, he goes and he's trying to get it, and the Muslims are kind of like, fine, just take it, like, just get out of here. And so it's kind of, it's not on the coast. It just has so
Yes, I brought the coastal thing because I do know that
Well,
I'm a
there's-
surfer, so
yeah.
there's actually
Tel
quite a bit of
Aviv, yep.
surfing out in
Yep.
yes, Tel Aviv. So
Yeah.
I actually saw some interesting footage. Hey, maybe I should have saved some of that for us of surfers in the water with ordnance hitting and blowing up near them,
what are ordnance?
like explosives.
That's a sick word.
Yeah, I believe that's the correct term for it.
So like gnarly
Like-
wave, bro. What is this from?
Basically, like there's
And people
all
like,
these
there's
like,
a war going on, you blonde idiot.
It's like no,
Bruh.
gotta hit this lip, bro. Shred the gnar.
Is
I
my
mean,
dad proud of me yet?
That is the most gnarly thing you could possibly imagine as a
Surfing
surfer
in a war
while
zone.
bombs are going off in the water.
I feel like that was happening. Isn't that in Apocalypse Now? Like
it is an
Yeah,
apocalypse now. Yeah, that's
Or
right.
like that's in like the napalm scene where like Robert
Yeah.
Duvall's like
They all pick up
they're all
boards.
surfing and then he's like, "Come on, hurry up, you bums!" I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Great scene.
So okay,
it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino.
So
film.
this is a lot of people
Kidding.
don't like to mention this. So if we actually have to go. Okay, so the
Not
Arabs
that stupid.
conquer Jerusalem and the Holy Land from the Christians, from the Byzantines,
right.
in the 7th century. So you have to go, okay, that's a long time ago. Does that matter? It
Mhm.
wasn't the Jews. They conquered it from a Christian empire, from the Romans, essentially.
Right.
So does that mean that it now belongs to Arabs? The Crusaders are going to own it for about 80 years, and
Yeah.
then they're going to lose it.
80
and
years is a good run.
Not really.
Not
in the
at
grand
all.
scheme of things. Not for all the resources they put into it. And then there's going to be, for about 300
I'm
years.
just trying to be positive. Everybody's
can be.
trying really hard.
In the 1290s, the Crusades are going to end with this Mamluk Empire kind of emerging out of Egypt.
hmm
And they're going to rule over the Holy Land for about 300 years until the Ottoman Empire takes over. Okay?
Ah, yes, our
Our
your
old
favorite
friends,
empire.
Not my favorite
Ah,
empire. no.
dang it. I don't listen to you ever. It's
No,
just
but the
so
Ottomans,
terrible.
they're a
But
Turkish...
you did have a real Ottoman phase.
I did. I enjoy. They're very interesting. They're the first ones with like a really professional gunpowder army with the Janissaries. They're the ones who finally take over Constantinople in 1453, but they
finally solved where do we put our feet up when we're sitting on the couch.
I was like, why is he?
It's coming.
I was like, why is he listening to me so much? He's like, yeah. And what
Here
else?
we go.
And what else did they do?
Count
And
it.
did they surf on the Ottomans?
Ottoman.
Was the Ottoman a surfboard?
Listen, I used to
too?
write a catalog for a furniture store that shall not be named, just because they're not
Simon's.
sponsoring us.
Oh,
So I know all about furniture and
Brisk.
yeah, the brick. No, it wasn't the brick.
I'm tired.
We'll keep it a mystery. Maybe it'll be an ongoing thing. I'll just keep
Beauty
mentioning
at the
this
Brisk.
catalog. Yeah,
Okay.
the brisk.
Speaking of brisses, so the
Speaking
so
of
the
brisk,
Ottoman Empire,
does
the
it
Ottoman-
have bite?
the Ottoman Empire is going to rule Jerusalem from the 1500s until the
Yeah.
end of World War One.
Right.
Okay, 400 years.
Now that's a good run.
That's a good run.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Ottomans, they were a Sunni Muslim empire. They, they could be pretty nasty. They essentially forced people to convert to Islam, and if you didn't, they did pretty nasty things. But there's one thing that empires do: they do keep the peace. So there's at this time, they've moved in, since the 600s, and they've stayed. Now, this is where it's going to become more of a land issue and less of a religious issue. So
Right.
let's look at what the Palestinians are doing, especially in the 19th century. So Palestine, it comes from the Roman Imperial, I believe it comes from the Roman Imperial province. That's where the name comes from. And that's just the area, Palestine. So they'd be called Palestinian Arabs. So they've moved in. They're living there. Now, they don't own the land generally, because in the Ottoman Empire, no one owned the land. The government owned everything, and you leased the land from them.
Right.
And there'd be powerful lords and nobles who would own land on behalf of the government, and so people would be renting the land. Okay? And I know this is boring you. I know.
No, it's okay.
But
leasing and ownership is an important subject matter. I was gonna ask, when did land ownership even really start?
But honestly, this is going to be the whole heart of it.
Well, this is the problem.
This is what no one really understands, and it's what's
I'm
gonna,
not bored. I'm enjoying this. This is
So
fun.
it's what's going to change. So So in the 1800s, the Ottomans, they changed their land laws to where you can actually own land.
And how do they tell people these land laws change?
They would do like an edict
Door-to-door
or something.
thing?
They would do an edict.
Direct mail? Direct rock mail?
So this allows for people to actually buy the land.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on to that in your brain.
Okay.
And now let's rewind and look at what's been happening to our old friends, the Jews, since let's say the Roman Empire.
It's not a lease, is it?
It's what?
It's a leasing issue still?
You're like, I can't lease. So the Jews, I had someone ask me the other day, why, an older person, they're like, why does everyone seem to hate the Jews?
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, that's an interesting question. I don't think everyone does, but it seems like there's right now a lot of online hate, a lot of anti-Semitism. Now, where does the word Semitism or Semite come from?
Oh, that's I feel
Surfing. It's a famous surfer.
It's a surf
Hey,
term.
my name's Shem. I'm Noah's son. I'm surfing during the flood.
It actually has to do with the wax
Yeah,
on the board.
it's
And
true.
anti-Semites were guys who like to ride it raw. Cut that one out.
Bro.
These
No,
aren't
so
analogies.
Noah's son.
These are surf terms.
Noah's son, there's one son who sees him passed out naked, Ham.
Right.
And many people don't know this about the story of Noah. After, he's the only one who gets to survive, he plants some grapes.
Yep.
And waits for them to grow, which would take a while, then ferments them, which I think would also take a little while, and then just gets completely hammered.
Oh, boy.
So it's a month-long, maybe even a year-long process to be like, I'm getting so drunk when I get off this ship. 40 days and 40 nights with my family. So, and all these animals. So he gets drunk. He passed out, not just drunk, but naked, which in my opinion is the only way to pass out drunk.
Yeah. Well, it helps.
So then his one son, Ham, comes in and is like, geez, like to the tent. He's like, and then leaves. Shem comes in and goes, Papa. And he puts his cloak on him or a blanket on him to cover up his father's nudity so he's not shamed.
Right.
Noah wakes up and is like, Ham, you are cursed, and all your people are cursed. Your descendants are cursed because
he tried to help him?
No, because you just looked at my naked body and didn't do anything. And Shem's like, I saw you naked, Daddy. And I was like, ew.
Yeah.
So I covered it up.
Like, no curse for you.
And he's like, no. In fact, your descendants will be blessed. So from Shem come the Shemites.
Wait a minute. We gotta get this story straight. So Shem does cover him. No curse.
No, he's on.
But he did see him naked.
Well, he's like, ooh.
He came in with his eyes closed. He's like, I saw it.
He backed up.
It was dark. I didn't see anything. Perfect. You're good. And sorry, the one who saw it and then walked
He's
out.
Like, that's my dad naked.
Was like, that's my dad naked. All right, I'm out of here. Yep. He was like, you allowed me to be shamed.
Yeah. So you're cursed.
So you're cursed. But how did he find out? Did he say something?
He's like this. He's like, is there someone in here looking at me?
He's like looking at the corner.
Yeah, he's just lying there. He's like, I can't move, but when I sober up, I'm going to friggin' curse you.
I'm so drunk I have paralysis, but I will get you. And then,
it's like, Dad?
So
Dad? He's just poking with a stick.
I mean, he did the right. One of them did the right thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
I don't think.
Look, man. It's early Genesis. It's hard to make sense.
People are figuring out what shame is.
Yeah. Look, he didn't honor his father. He saw his dad passed out naked, and he was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Took a picture, posted it, and then...
showed the animals.
And then went and told a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then...
the dinosaur freaked out, ran off the ship, and died.
And they died in the flood.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
okay.
therefore, the shame part.
So we get the Shemites from there. Over time, it just turned into Semite. So that's where we get the term Semite from. So from Shem are descended the people of Israel.
Right.
So we get anti-Semitism. So there's a long history of anti-Semitism and going back to the ancient Egyptians, right, where the pharaoh's like, there's so many of these people, we got to freaking enslave them.
Right.
And from then it just gets
Isn't
worse.
it interesting that that the Semites were actually the non-cursed generation, but they get the anti-Semitism?
Well, to quote Tevier from Fiddler on the Roof.
Right, yeah.
When
we love Tevier.
Oh, Lord.
Here it comes. 2006.
It was fall 2005, November.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
Lord, I know that we are your chosen people. But once in a while, couldn't you choose somebody else? And the crowds roared with laughter.
Yeah, and I'm in the back on the drums, just like, not even paying attention. Jono, play.
Yeah, play. Yeah, so it's
I was a
pretty
drummer
rough.
in Fiddler on the Roof.
So
I don't
part
really
of
know
it-
why we needed one.
The key part to the fiddler on the roof is the drums. I mean,
Yeah.
really, the fiddler is just
Yeah,
a
it's
metaphor.
the drummer on
it's
the
the
roof.
drummer on the roof.
Yeah.
Drummer on the ground.
Exactly.
So yeah, so
I was on the roof, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
high school plays.
I kept
define
doing
us.
that boom, kip, 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 boom, kip. It was a very boring part.
Yeah.
It was so boring they had to get 3 drummers on that just to play different nights. It was like, you have to play, but you only have to play one night. I was like, okay.
And to each of them, we called them the little drummer boys.
That's right.
So okay, so there's a long history, and we'll fast forward a little bit.
I was there all 3 nights. I just wasn't playing.
What is wrong with you?
I was passed out in the back
Who on
naked. I was
earth
like, who do I
cares?
shame?
Who cares? And you're like, oh Lord, I know I'm your chosen drummer.
Yeah, I was.
No, okay, so
I was the best drummer.
Oddly enough, people don't understand that the Jews are persecuted all throughout history.
Yeah.
Like I was actually just talking to my students about this because they're like, why did Hitler hate the Jews? They act like Hitler created anti-Semitism. Hitler doesn't create anti-Semitism; he just capitalizes on it.
Yeah.
So in the Middle Ages,
There's that name again.
but they were the Middle Ages. They were deemed
No, Hitler.
as the yeah, thank you. They were deemed as the killers of Christ, right?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of it starts. So the Christians would be like, these people killed Christ. They weren't really hard on the Romans, who actually did the actual nailing.
Yeah.
They had Jews. And
They
so,
were just like, they're like, like, are you sure you want us to do this?
yeah.
the
Like,
whole
I
time?
wash my hands with this.
Yeah, it's
All
that's
right, I thought we could have a party for Passover, but we're gonna be a little okay.
So the Jews, they are go on.
So yeah,
Continue.
so there's this idea that they're the killers of Christ. So Christian kingdoms, as they form in the wake of the Roman Empire, they're these, and especially Jewish people, really work together. They had, been the diaspora is the term that's used. With all these empires that are coming through the Holy Land, the Jewish people are spreading out across the Middle East, across Europe, to find little pockets of territory that they can live in. The Jews learned very early on that if you were to invest in jobs like carpentry or stonemasonry, those things can be taken away from you, right? If I break your hands or if I take away your tools, you cannot be a carpenter. But if you invest in education, like the law or accounting,
That's why they
or
say you can never
banking.
take your education away from you.
Yeah. So they're like, we can invest in these, what are now seen as like the top jobs, but at the time, like a doctor and a lawyer, it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Doctor's like, well, I guess we'll bleed him again. No, that's what they did for 800 years. They're like, it's
True.
like, Doc, I'm bleeding to death. Bleed him.
Wasn't there an era during the Black Plague where they were also? I can't remember. Is this true? Is this something I made up in my head? They were like, they were drinking gold or something like that.
Ooh, I don't know. There was a lot of, like, I know
Dan, is that wrong?
that sounds like alchemy. Like they were like trying to.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
It sounds
Now
ridiculously
it's
wrong.
interesting how you bring up the Black Death.
I don't know what was happening with that.
Because the Jews were blamed for the Black Death. So let me quickly, like, it's crazy how much stuff. So the Jews are like they're generally forced throughout the Middle Ages, throughout the Renaissance, especially in Italy, they're forced to wear Stars of David on their shirts, wear specific caps so that they could be identified. They lived in ghettos throughout the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. So if you read the play by Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice, the villain in it is Shylock, who's a banker.
Yes.
And he's it's kind of with I was watching it a few years ago. I'm like, there's no way to get around this. This is just an anti-Semitic play, right? Where it's just like the evil, conniving Jew, and they would come up with like, oh, the Jews are up into like late night ceremonies. They're sacrificing children. They're trying to get like the blood libel. But what it actually came down to was the Jews were able to become quite wealthy because they focused, they worked well with each other, and they focused mainly on banking. In the Middle Ages, a Christian could not charge interest. It was seen against the New Testament to charge interest. Jews could charge interest according to the Torah.
Oh.
And so they became the bankers, which meant they became quite wealthy. But if you're a leader and all of a sudden you need cash, all you have to do is tap into the anti-Semitism that already exists, and you persecute the Jews, have a pogrom, or even kick them out, and you can take all their money. So then in England in the 1290s, Edward the Longshanks, Edward I, he needs cash to fight his wars in Scotland against William Wallace. He actually kicks them out of England in the 1290s. Right? They're blamed for the Black Death. Right? Like it's nonstop. Yeah, they're kicked out of Spain. I mean, there's massacres. Dan, did we drink gold to cure the Black Death?
Gold bits.
It was the alchemical theory.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But Tom, I have to correct you.
Good.
That the Jews in the Old Testament were not supposed to charge interest on loans.
No. There was a specific law in Torah that allowed them to charge interest. There is, whether it's in the Talmud or it's in Torah.
Well, Talmud is not Torah; those are different things.
Yeah, but there was in their traditional text, there was a way that they were able to charge interest.
I think what happened is that they charged it to Gentiles, but not to Jews.
There you go.
Oh.
Good correction.
There you go.
But technically, they shouldn't be doing it.
Okay, so for whatever reason, so they could charge it to Gentiles. They were the only ones who were able to charge interest. I was just trying to talk really fast to keep his attention because I knew he was just thinking about drinking gold.
I just wanted to find out if it's true.
You're like, is it
I'm like,
true?
where did this come from? I heard it somewhere, and
But
I think it was in
alchemy-
high school.
It was
Alchemy is this,
associated
like-
with purity.
Yeah.
So they thought that, but it was never effective.
Okay, of course it was, yeah.
Look, man, they also thought the Black Death was being spread mainly through smell, right? So when you see those doctors,
Like, stop
they-
smelling stuff,
They
guys.
have those, or through the air. So they have those doctors wearing those long beak masks.
Oh,
so they would
that's-
fill those beaks with like flower petals and spices and stuff to protect the.
Oh, that's just an excuse to smell flower
It's
petals.
like, ooh, yes.
What a great
Sir,
day.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
Buboes are all
Drink
over.
this gold. you
All right.
plebe.
So
It's
anyways,
plebe,
the Jews
not pleb.
the Jews work well together, and they stick together. So, and they do quite well, and that's going to naturally cause people to dislike them.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the famous pogroms in the Russian Empire are going to trigger a massive Jewish migration.
Did we cover what a pogrom was?
Pogrom is where the government kind of attacks, or it's a government sponsored or state sponsored, or someone comes and attacks and just tosses the Jews out of a village.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, this really culminates, and we'll talk about it later, but this culminates with the Holocaust, which is like the ultimate government-sponsored pogrom, to the point where Hitler and the Nazis and Himmler and Goering come up with the final solution, and they go, we actually have to rid the world of this Jewish problem. And that comes from thousands of years of anti-Semitism in Germany, in France, in Russia. And so it is concerning when you start hearing a lot of those things coming back up again, simply because the state of Israel might be doing some questionable things. Doesn't mean all of a sudden that the Jews control the world. So even when I was talking to this guy, he's like, "Oh, the Rothschild." I'm like, "Yeah, the Rothschilds are a very powerful banking family. So is J.P. Morgan, right? So there's a bunch of them that are not Jewish." But once again, the Jews were, the big guys who went into banking because Christians generally couldn't. Now, to
And
Dan's
why
point,
again weren't Christians allowed to go
so
into
Christians
banking?
could, so there is the big banking families of Italy emerged, especially in Florence, and especially the Medici.
Mhm.
The Medici are able to become bankers, and they would essentially like tax you. They would tax like how much money you would make on trade. So they would loan money to governments, and they would do like tariffs on you. That's how they would make their money.
Mhm.
So there's loopholes that they found, but the Jews found a loophole, a way to charge. Maybe look that up for us, Dan, just so we can be specific about what exactly happened. They were able to charge interest, perhaps just to Gentiles. So, okay, so we have 19th century Palestine, and it's run by the Ottomans. It's almost 100% or primarily just Palestinian Arabs are living there. Okay, and it's not a separate state, right? It's just fact. Now there are some Christian minorities. There is a small Jewish population. Identity is really local. It's about villages. There's not really a Palestinian national identity. But in 19th century Europe, the Jews are starting to begin to gain a bit of a national identity.
Right.
As Germany's becoming a nation, as France is becoming more of a nation, the Jews are starting to go like, okay, well, maybe we should finally get to form our own nation. And this is where we get the rise of Zionism.
Okay.
Okay? So anyone who believes that the Jews deserve to have a homeland, probably
Are
specifically
Zionists, yes.
in Israel, are Zionists.
I am familiar with this term.
Yeah. So it's at one point they were like, well, maybe we could go anywhere. Like maybe we could go to Uganda or maybe we could go wherever.
And sorry, where does the term Zion come from?
Yeah, so Zion's a biblical term. I mean, it's seen as, what is it seen as, like the heavenly city, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like God's kingdom.
Yeah,
on
it's
earth.
God's kingdom on earth. Like,
Right.
So Zion, isn't there like a Mount Zion? So there's a guy named Theodor Herzl who kind of becomes the scholar. He's a Jewish scholar who kind of pushes this. There's this nasty controversial affair in the let's see, what year is it? 1894 in France, where Alfred Dreyfus, it's called the Dreyfus affair, where he was a Jewish artillery officer. He was falsely accused of selling military secrets to Germany. And he was degraded. It was a public thing, and it was a life sentence. Turns out he was completely falsely accused, and everyone thought this is just another anti-Semitic thing. So Theodor Herzl's like, okay, well, we need our own state. Like if an artillery officer can't even make his way up through the French military, we need our own state.
Right.
Oddly enough, Napoleon was actually quite big on liberating the Jews and giving
why
them
was
more
that?
rights. Well, he was a pragmatic man. He was not focused on religion at all. So he was all about meritocracy. So it's like whoever's the best deserves to get to. So as he is conquering all of Europe, he's releasing Jews from a lot of the laws that were keeping them down and stuff like that. So the Jews do start to, now we go back to that land reform.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Ottoman Empire, they've now allowed for purchasing. So the Jews are, of course, they have capital. They have organization. They're starting to form this like Zionist ideas under Theodor Herzl and other guys. So they're like, well, we can actually start purchasing land. So they start purchasing land.
Just like Blackstone.
So they start purchasing land in
Is this
Palestine.
kind of an organized
Yes.
land
So it's
purchase?
starting to get organized. And
Because it's not individuals going in; it's like a group of.
there'd be individuals, but what they're doing, I mean, so right now in Palestine, there's absentee Turkish landlords who maybe live in Istanbul,
Right.
and there's Palestinian Arabs who are working the land and renting it from them.
Right.
So all the Jews are doing is they're going, okay, we're buying this land from the guys who aren't living there, and then we show up and we're able to say to the Palestinian Arabs who are the tenants, you have to go. So
Right.
now we have an issue where they're starting to like push the Arabs out. It's not massive at this point in the late 1890s.
Right.
But here you already have our controversy starting. So
Because you have renters getting kicked out by the new tenants.
by the new landlords, yeah.
Or sorry,
Yeah.
the new landlords. My
Now-
goodness, did I say tenants?
So oddly enough, even
I'm on
though
2 hours of sleep today.
heck yeah,
Yeah, that's
what
right.
we're talking about, dude. So oddly enough, we need to now define Zionism a bit more here because there's Christian Zionism and there's Jewish Zionism. So Christian Zionism is rooted more in like the Protestant belief of like, and this is where Britain and the United States are going to give a lot of support to Israel because they're Christian Protestant nations at the time. That the Jews returning to the Holy Land is part of a biblical prophecy, and then there's Jewish Zionism, which is the secular and political movement. Okay,
Right.
so now we get to where the British Empire is going to get involved. We're going to get into World War I now. Okay,
Here we go.
so the Jews are slowly moving in, and the Ottoman Empire is going to fight on the side of Germany and Austria-Hungary.
Where do these people all meet to build these alliances at this time? Do they have a bunch of, folks being sent out and meeting somewhere in Europe, kind of in some central hub where they're like, we align with you, Israel? Like you said, the U.S. has been, you mentioned the U.S. was backing them even back then?
Not at this point, so that'll be later
Okay.
on. So,
Interesting.
so at this point, there is because there's a large number of Jews still, they've moved back.
Yeah, I can't imagine the U.S. is overly involved in Eastern
Not
affairs.
yet, but they're going to all of a sudden, boom, right? It's
Yeah.
going to flip after World War II like that.
Okay.
So first,
it's coming.
think of just Britain is going to be what the U.S. is now. Britain's going to be very quickly here.
Okay.
So
They have a vested interest.
ambassadors are being sent all over, but like these powerful Zionist clubs are forming in Europe,
Okay.
and they are going and advocating to especially British Parliament.
Right.
Okay.
They got their families on the phone.
Well,
telling
no,
them
they
what's
have similar to what
on the Morse code.
yeah, similar to what the Jewish. No, they're not doing that.
I thought it was World War One.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess they're sending telegrams.
People are
but
just like chatting.
yeah, they're like, and so I said, L'chaim. So okay, no, there's much similar as there's today with AIPAC in the United States. We mentioned it. There is a Jewish lobby in advocating in the British Parliament, and here's actually you bring up a good point because here's where the Palestinians are kind of
I'm
just
full
like,
of good points.
You are. The Palestinians are literally just living, working the land, living their life. The Jews are far more strategic. Okay, they're going. What if we actually get all the most powerful people on our side, and we'll slowly purchase the land?
Right.
We'll just do that.
So it's a big strategic effort.
So the Ottoman Empire, I go to the map there down, I think the next one.
We're into maps.
Go to the next one here. Okay.
Oh,
so
high
not-
resolution.
Okay, chill out. So there's what's left of the Ottoman Empire in kind of the darker stuff there.
Yep.
And
I love the Ottoman Empire.
sure.
Calm
and-
down. Big Ottoman.
So the Ottomans are going to side with
Don't
the
forget.
Austro-Hungarians and the Germans.
Yep.
And meanwhile, the British are going to send a dashing lieutenant down to Arabia. T.E.
Lieutenant
Lawrence.
Dan. Oh,
Lieutenant Dan, you got
Dan.
legs. You got new legs.
he
Lieutenant
sails
Dan.
all
Yeah,
the
this
way
is
there.
my fiance, Lieutenant Dan.
Don't maps
yeah,
like this just make you wish you could touch them?
Similar to you could touch like the.
The bumpy parts.
Oh, yeah. I have maps like that.
Yeah.
Or globes.
Yeah,
So
globes. Like, I
so-
used to have a bumpy globe.
Britain sees an ally in Arabia. They're like, okay, we can actually, if we send some guys to Arabia, they can attack the Ottoman Empire from the southeast. So they send T.E. Lawrence, soon to be known as
LT Smash.
2 hours of sleep.
Simpsons quotes. We're going to try and get 3.
That was 2.
Lieutenant LT Smash.
So he becomes Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, let's go to the clip.
cut
Go
to
to
the
the
clip.
next slide. Next slide.
He has it.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
He's got the video. He's got the movie cover.
There you go. And no.
Oh,
sorry. Next.
that's
Just
not
kidding.
right.
Yeah, we'll go back. Oh, there he
There
is. So
we
there's the
go.
real guy, and there's Peter O'Toole.
Oh, I didn't. That's pretty good casting.
I love, there's at one point when, so he rallies the Arabs to go and attack the Ottoman Empire, especially at Aqaba and Damascus, and they're able to do quite a lot of great stuff. And Lawrence
So much has happened.
Lawrence
on
is
the road to
Lawrence is
Damascus.
saying to it's true. Lawrence is like the whole time. Yes, the British have promised to Prince Faisal, played by Alec Guinness.
Oh,
So that was back when white guys played any race they wanted.
yeah.
And he's like, "Do you think we're a little people?"
I gotta
Probably.
say,
He literally said, "He's like." And they're like, "Obi-Wan, is that you?" He's like, "Do you think we're a little people that you can control us? I am Arabic. Can't you hear my accent?"
I was gonna
I'm-
say the casting of Obi-Wan was pretty insensitive.
to
Yeah.
all those Jedi. R.I.P. So
To the
so
Targaryens.
he encourages this Arab revolt. Now here's, if we can go back. Sorry, Dan, you have to whip back to the, not that one, but yeah. So he and the British are starting to promise the Arabs a land of their own. The Ottoman Empire is dismantled by the British, and now my maps. I sorry, Dan. Cut. You have to go forward quite a bit here. Let's go to the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So the British.
We are
There it is. So the British and the French get together and they say, "I know we promised the Arabs their own homeland, but what if we just take it all, old boy?" And the French are like, "I don't see why not. I mean, we won, didn't we? We're Nubian." That's the we're doing a French accent. I want something more real. Yeah. So the blue.
Republican credits.
I need pounds. So France takes literally two guys, Marc Sykes and Francois Georges Picot, they get together in 1916 before the war's over. They're like, "Hey, boy, let's split it up." So they split this area of the Middle East up.
Brits
So
coming in.
yeah, so of course.
We love
So in France gets control over Syria and Lebanon, and knowing the French, they're going to do a smashing job. And then Britain takes over control of Iraq and Palestine. That is the deal. So meanwhile, while this is going on, the British are going, "I say, we'll take this." And the Ottoman Empire still technically controls all this. And they've promised the Arabs through Lawrence of Arabia and all those guys are like, "Yeah, you can have your own homeland. Don't worry, it's going to be really good." Meanwhile, Arthur Balfour is the foreign secretary back in Britain. He's being heavily worked on by Zionists. They're, the Jewish lobby is talking to him.
They're
And
whining
he
and
goes,
dining him.
he does the Balfour Declaration of 1917, where he says,
I like these
it's like,
guys.
it's a declaration. It's not a law. I don't know who this went through, but this is going to screw everything up. Okay. So meanwhile, there's just Palestinians living there. Jews are slowly moving in, and the British are going to carve it all up between them and the French.
Yeah.
And then Arthur Balfour goes, "I say, oh boy, the British government now expresses its support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people."
Okay.
Okay? Holy smokes,
This
that's
is all on tape.
so this is, he's like, 1917.
Yeah.
Like yo.
It's a silent film.
Yo.
It's like we're reading his lips. Yeah,
So
it
let's
makes
just
sense.
think about how confusing this is already, and the British are doing just a terrible job of this. I hate to criticize them.
Don't do that. That's offensive.
Yeah, like, the Brits are the old. So they literally are going. They've promised a homeland to the Arabs.
Yeah.
They've now promised that there will be a Jewish state in Palestine, even though they don't have access to it because it's still technically part of the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
Right, 'cause
So
this
they're
is
promising
1970.
stuff that belongs to other people that they're renting to other people.
So
Okay.
I'm the guy who tells the other guy. So they're just like, well, someone else will. And there's an element in democracy and in these parliaments where it's like, what I say, I mean, it sounds nice. Like Arthur Balfour is like, well, this gets them off my back. It's now going to be Winnie's problem, right? Because Churchill's going to come in as the Secretary
yeah.
of War.
Here he
And
comes.
he's going to come and be like, well, bloody hell. So the war ends. The League of Nations is established. The League of Nations established in the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah.
This is a precursor to the United Nations. It's like the United Nations if it wasn't successful. So I guess the same thing. So okay, so
I was just thinking about that. I was like, is the United Nations
the
actually?
League of Nations got it wrong. The United Nations like, wait, we're better.
We're really good.
We found it was better if we,
We
just
got
didn't
blue
do anything.
helmets.
Yeah, we wanted blue to be our camo. So the League of Nations establishes,
Yeah.
and this is important, a mandate. There's a British mandate for Palestine. That's what they call it.
The mandate.
That means that it's the British mandate. So the British are now in control of Palestine.
Sounds important. Sounds serious.
So
Has
this
to be
is
real.
it's essentially a League of Nations trusteeship.
Mm-hmm.
The British are being trusted with this land. So now the Ottomans own it.
So they mandate this for themselves.
The League of Nations.
The League of Nations, right?
Mandate, which is controlled by the British and French,
Yeah.
is because the United States is not part of it.
Okay.
Quick aside, do we have time?
Yeah.
So it was all Woodrow Wilson's
Actually,
ideas.
no, we're out of
It was all Woodrow Wilson's idea, the League of Nations. He gave away, he's the American president. He comes over to the Paris Peace Conferences, and he's like, with Georges Clemenceau and David Lloyd George, and he's trying to just get this League of Nations together. And he's also like, we can't punish Germany too much because then, they'll come back and they'll fight us again. But the French are like,
and sure
destroy
enough,
them.
Yeah.
So he, in order to get the French on board, he literally gives them everything they want. Whether it's like, we'll do reparations, we'll do the war guilt clause, we'll take away half of Germany, we'll do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Setting up for World War II. And then he's like, but at least we have the League of Nations so we can talk about it, guys.
Yeah.
He goes home to the United States. He's a Democrat. And at the time, the Republicans were the, what's it called when they're very internal party. They're like, we only care about America.
Yeah, isolation.
Isolation.
Oh, yeah,
So
isolation.
the Republicans are like, we're not doing the League of Nations, dude. And of course, the Senate has to ratify a treaty.
They're
And
like,
Wilson's
come on,
like,
guys,
Wilson's
it's
like,
cool.
I
We're
just
a
gave the
league."
French whatever they wanted to get this. So Wilson's like,
The
okay,
League
whatever.
of Nations is a cooler name. I will say that.
It's so sick.
Sounds
It's
like,
like Justice
League of
Yeah.
League, League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
League
everything-
of Extraordinary
and-
Gentlemen.
Yeah. And all those things
I
are
think
so
those
cool.
were all working names, and then they're like,
Like, what about the
we'll make those
League of
comics?
What about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Is that an obscure reference? That's my favorite Quentin Tarantino film.
Also my favorite James Bond film.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Good,
there's a
good cross collab.
Great scene right at the beginning where he's about to like shoot someone, and he's like, the guy's like running. It's Sean Connery and like Shane West is right here, and they're running very far.
Shane West.
They're running very far, and he's got this like obscure musket because it's in like the 1890s,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
have like really good technology. And he's like, the guy's running way far away, and he's like, oh, Sean Connery's like, oh, damn it. He puts his gun down. The guy's like, yeah, and Shane West's like, yeah, he's too far. He's like, no,
This
I'm
is
getting
a walk
old
to remember.
No, damn it.
You were gonna say that, weren't you?
No, I was gonna say no. It just screws up the whole.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever. He goes. Damn it.
I'll give
He
him
goes,
a
no,
walk to
damn.
remember.
He goes, no, damn it, I'm getting old. And he puts on glasses. And then he says, no, go for a walk. And Shane's like,
oh, you actually wanted to quote it accurately.
No,
Well,
I thought it'd be funny enough by itself. But no, it would be funny
as soon as
if
you say Shane West, I just had to do something about it.
Sean Connery's just slowly, Shane West is walking. He's just like, a walk to remember for me. Go west, Shane. Go west. And then he shoots him.
And then Shane West is like, no, I gotta save my wife from cancer.
Now, he married
such a
her, but they
good,
were like,
pure
weren't they like
girl.
16?
Yeah, they were.
He's like, let's get married. She's like, I'm gonna die. He's like,
For
I
2
know.
months?
She's like, I can't have sex till I'm married. Well, there's
We
one-
might as well get.
and it's
so
till,
wait a minute.
till
You're gonna
death
be
do us
dead in
part,
3
Mandy.
months? So you're telling me I can have sex with you, and you're gonna be dead in 3 months if I marry you?
Holy crap! Dude, we're so
yeah, I'll go to
screwed. We're
church.
so screwed. I'll sing in the choir, Mandy.
I'll do what it takes.
It's like he changed so much.
You lead a youth group or something like that. Like I could put up chairs.
It was over his head.
Beautiful story.
The moment I saw you cry. That's the song from the movie.
Yeah, I remember
Dude,
that.
he's just stacking chairs. And he's like, why is Shane like got just a skip in his step? He's just skipping away.
Yeah.
It's
Stack that chair.
I'll go to youth group. No,
Anyways.
that's nice. So Israel.
We'll cut that part out.
So anyways, Woodrow Wilson. We just did a tangent upon a tangent upon a tangent. We went
League of Extraordinary
from-
Gentlemen to
so, Woodrow
why
Wilson.
Shane West's
Woodrow
motivation.
Wilson. He's like, I'm gonna go on tour and I'm gonna promote this amongst the American people, and we're gonna force the Senate to join the League of Nations.
Yeah.
And then he starts the tour, and then he has a stroke. and he's out for like 8 months. And his wife, a handsome gal, Edith Wilson, she technically runs.
That is a handsome name.
She is, and if you see her, she's very handsome. They got married right at the beginning of his tenure, his time as president. But she runs the country for like 8 months with the doctor, and the people don't even know. Like Wilson's just like out cold in the White House,
running it,
and they call her technically the
first lady president.
Yeah. All right, so there's this mandate period, which is going to go from
Did she make any good calls?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. Neither did he. The mandate period, it's going to run from 1920 to 1948. And they're like, the British are all about like, well, we're going to prepare the land for self-government. We're going to train them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, so during the 1920s, the Zionists are going to, the Jews are going to be moving in at a bit more of an increasing rate.
Right.
Okay? Doing their kind of stuff. There's going to be a bit of unrest. There's going to be a bit of violence. The Jews are going to create this epic self-defense organization called the Haganah.
Okay.
And it's going to be kind of like a local militia that they're going to kind of bring together to protect people in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to grow under the British mandate. Once again, you have to understand, like the Jews are going to be very organized. The Arabs are going to be more reactionary.
And this is our early IDF.
Sort of. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's the Al-Barak uprising in 1929, where we start to see the first kind of whispers or tensions emerge, where there's going to be some tension over access to the Western Wall, which is all that's left over of the Second Temple.
Right.
And there's going to be some violence that's occurred, and they're going to fight. There's going to be some riots. Depending on the Arab side, they'd be like the Jews reacted, and the Jews would say the Arabs overreacted, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's going to lead to this thing called the Hebron Massacre, where Arab rioters are going to kill dozens of Jews in Hebron. And so things are starting to intensify, and they're going to kind of culminate as Jews are steadily moving in with the Great Arab Revolt in 1936, okay,
Right.
to 39. So there's this great Arab revolt in the late 30s, and the British are kind of getting fed up. They're kind of getting fed up with empire in general. Like I say, it's costing us a lot of money, and we're not like, even though the British Empire at this point is at its largest extent, it's not its greatest power. Right, the height of the British Empire is in the 19th century.
We're well past that.
We're well past that.
They're just hanging on to threads.
Well, they do. They have a lot of land, but they're kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, this is
Why
costing
don't
us.
we just bring them to us?
Yeah, like I say, they should come move to Britain. So.
Yeah.
In the Palestinian Arabs, they launch a major revolt against British rule because they're getting a little bit frustrated. The Arabs are getting frustrated with the amount of Jews who are coming in, moving in. They also just don't really want the British ruling. And there's going to be strikes. There's going to be protests. The Arabs are going to start to get really organized.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a bit more of some of their more kind of famous leaders emerge at this time. But the British are going to answer like a grumpy parent. Like they're going to be like, enough. And they're going to answer with overwhelming force. They're going to bring in the army. They're going to do arrests. There's going to do demolitions. There's going to be curfews. In this book, A Very Short History, he was talking about how there was airstrikes. They brought like the Air Force in. And so they crush it. And he would argue.
And sorry, what year is this again?
This is 1936 to 39.
Okay.
He would argue that the British actually kill a lot of the top Arab leaders in this revolt, which is why they're going to be so unprepared for the 1948 Israeli-Palestine war.
Mm-hmm.
So the British send a commissioner to take a look at the situation. So in 1937, there's the Peel Commission. And they're going to come to the point where it's like, this is not sustainable, right? We can't have these two people groups living here. Keep in mind, the British have kind of created this problem, right? Back when we go to 1960, 1970, where they're like promising everything to everybody. And yes, like Prince Faisal, the Alec Guinness character, he becomes the king of Iraq, and the Hussein family, and they form a dynasty in Jordan, and all these other, things are forming. And I know if you're a Middle Eastern expert, I'm going quickly through this, but what is really going to become problematic is the British are going to shift their policy away from the Jews towards the Arabs because of this revolt. In 1939, they're going to issue what's called the White Paper document, or White Paper. They're going to limit and even restrict Jewish immigration to Palestine. This is very problematic because what's going on in Europe in the 1930s?
Well, World War II.
Yeah, so you have the Jews are actually being persecuted.
Yeah.
And so some of them are starting to
flee. I
flee.
guess the start of World War II. So
Yeah, so now,
Germany's
yeah.
actively oppressing them at this time.
The German The Germans start in 1933 with some of their policies.
Yeah.
So throughout the 30s, the Jews are starting to move a bit more actively to Israel, to Palestine. So this white paper, the British Navy actually,
But they're stopping them from doing that. So,
Yeah.
so meanwhile, Jews are trying to flee Germany. They're trying to go back. They're trying to go to Palestine,
Yeah.
but they're not allowed to go there because the British. Oh my goodness! So the British are fighting against this growing monster within Germany, while also actively stopping the exodus of people trying to get out safely.
yeah.
Do they know that?
British?
That's not. They're not aware of that
no,
at that
they're
time.
not,
This is
no.
quite under wraps.
They're not
yeah.
super aware. People in Germany were obviously aware. I don't know.
I wonder if they noticed that there was an increasing amount of people trying to get out.
It'd be hard to get out.
They would have been managing
The
that.
numbers aren't super high, but the British Navy does turn ships back and forces Jewish people to go back to Germany.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
So the Zionists see this as a literal betrayal, and they start to go, okay, maybe Britain's not our best bet.
Right.
And of course, in Palestine, World War II is actually not a super violent time in Palestine. All the actions happening in North Africa and of course in Europe.
And again, what shifted this sentiment from the Jewish people in Palestine to the Arabs? It was the revolt, but like, what about that revolt?
It was so violent, so aggressive that the British, and of course,
They're just like, we have to.
British government's twitch. I mean, you have Neville Chamberlain; he's the prime minister. His big thing with Hitler was appeasement. So with the Arabs, he's like, okay, well, let's see if we can shift our policy. There's way more Arabs living in Palestine than there are Jews.
So this guy's just accommodating the most violent, people pushing back on him, giving him the most trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little harsh on him, but yeah. I mean, it was a very popular policy, appeasement at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But whoever was the squeakiest wheel, he was just like, okay.
So he's like, we have to shift this
down.
and we can't just fully support the Jews in this situation. So, okay, so then, of course, the Holocaust happens.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 million Jews are killed either in the concentration camps or by the killing squads, the Einsatzgruppen. And so the World War II ends and the horrors of this come out. And then the UN is established, the United Nations. And Jews start increasing sharply. Of course, after the war, they start migrating much more aggressively to Palestine. Once again, they are pushing Arabs off the land as they migrate there, right? Okay, let's go back, Dan. Go back to that 4-part map, and we'll spend some time there. Okay, so let's look at the map on the far left there, the 1946. So that's what Palestine looks like, the white areas being kind of where the Jewish populations are congregating.
And sorry, is this land that they're congregating on that they own?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So they've bought this land, and
is that ownership recognized by who recognizes this ownership?
The British mandate. So this is on behalf of the League of Nations. The British, there's British troops there. Like this is the British are essentially running.
And therefore they formed their little militia that's protecting this as well. Yeah.
Okay. So the United Nations is newly formed, and they're like, all right. First on the agenda, let's solve this.
All right.
And they go through Plan A, and they're like, that won't work. Plan B, that won't work. Plan C, that won't work. Plan D. Oh, they call it the Dalit, the Plan D.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Haganah is going to start to expand and try and take over certain areas. But anyways, the UN is going to come up with the partition agreement. Right. So if you look at the middle left one there, that is the UN Plan 1947, where they go, all right, we're just going to split this small, tiny area into the white there is Israel and the green will be Palestine. Jerusalem is generally controlled by Jordan, which is the only Arab kingdom that's actually friendly with the Jewish people. Now, this is also, once again, where this is not functional. This is not going to work at all. It's this random map of just whatever.
Yeah.
So the Arabs call this Nakba. Okay, this
I've
is
heard this term.
Yes, it means catastrophe in Arabic.
Yeah.
And it refers to this mass displacement that's going to occur in 1948, where 700,000 Palestinians are going to be forced from their homes because of the war that's going to break out. Now, the Jews would call it the War of Independence. The Arabs call it the Nakba, or they call it the Israeli-Palestinian War. So, after the UN partition votes, the Arab states all join forces to take on Israel because they're like, no, we're not going to, this can't just happen. Now, I remember when I was taught this in university, the professor's like, if you're Jewish, this is like an American Revolution, right? It's like the underdog takes on all the Arab states and they fight for their independence, they fight for their freedom, and they, against all odds, win. At this point, many of their generals had fought with the British Army in World War II, like Moshe Dayan, and they were now starting to get a lot of backing from the United States. President Harry S. Truman was a big supporter of Israel, and so they're getting weapons, they're getting stuff. This is where the Jewish lobby's already active in the United States. There's a lot of very wealthy New York Jews and stuff that are promoting this. So they're going to take on, and I want to get this right. So the Arab side, there's going to be the regular armies of Egypt, the Arab Legion of the Transjordan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and then the Arab Liberation Army and local Palestinian militias. So sounds like a lot, like it's all the countries, and it's just against Israel. But in reality, Israel was almost like guaranteed to win. Like the Arab armies are not that strong. There's not much. I mean, Gamal Abdel Nasser, he'll become the president or dictator of Egypt, depending on what you want to call him. He fought for the Egyptian side. He has this memory of like going to like fight the Israeli army in the desert, and his like gun wouldn't even fire. Like they wouldn't even fire properly in the sand and in the desert.
Yeah.
Questions at this point as I catch my breath.
Yeah, so what makes the Israeli army so good?
Yeah.
Like in this case, like what about their, I mean, they sound like they're kind of they started out as a bit of a, I don't know, scrappy group of guys. They were just kind of pulling it together.
So that's going to be a...
and they're still to this day considered one of the better or more successful and stronger military forces in the world.
Yeah.
Their air force, their ground troops are considered quite formidable.
I mean, that's going to be a recurring theme, and in fact, it's going to become one of probably the main themes as we get through the story throughout the 20th century. Is that
it military tact, or is it actual just grit and
I think it's supply and equipment from the United States. I think it's the idea that like you always have to be at the top of your game because they are surrounded by enemies.
Yeah.
Whether you're pro-Israel or not, they are surrounded by hostile nations, so they are fighting at all times. If they're fighting a war, they're fighting a war of survival. So they have to be extremely smart, extremely tactical. They don't have a large population, so they can't just throw 100,000 guys at something.
So
and everyone in their nation has to join the army, and so they have to train them quite well. That's going to be the key, and it has been throughout history, is the Jews' abilities to stay organized, to be efficient, to not waste resources, to attack quickly, and when they attack to annihilate. Like there's no just like, oh, let's go half in. It's like, no, we're all in. So yeah, you have during this time you have the leaders like Chaim Weizmann, and then the first prime minister David Ben Gurion emerged. And they're building Western institutions as well in Israel. So they have like westernized capitalism and meritocracy and democracy and all this stuff is this kind of establishment. That's where people would say, well, they're just a European colony in the Middle East. Right? These are Europeans. And they're establishing, there's like the World Zionist Organization and the Jewish Agency and all these, they have this like framework where, and people go like, oh, it's not like the Jews are controlling everything, or they're, investing in all these governments. It's like, man, like what country is not trying to get other countries to do what it wants? Like the United States is everywhere, right? China's everywhere, like Russia's everywhere. Like, so all Israel's doing is it just does it better, right? They're able to like twist other countries or like motivate other countries to do what they want them to do.
Right.
From like a Machiavellian point of view, if you like remove morality and everything, you're just like, it's about survival. And it's like, yeah, they're just the best at the game.
Right.
Right. So they win the War of Independence quite handily, and this leads to look at the center right, like there's not much left. So there's Gaza, and then there's the West Bank. And after this, Jordan is going to control the West Bank and Jerusalem, and then little Gaza there is going to be controlled by Egypt.
Right.
And so Palestine does not have anything.
So they're basically fully taken over.
Mhm.
Now, once again, so why? Where does Israel or where do the Jewish people kind of feel this this ownership of this land specifically? It was back in it started back. You mentioned it at the beginning, but just to give us all a refresher.
Yeah, like I mean, the heart of it is like it is they would say it's their traditional biblical homeland gifted to them by God through his promise to Abraham.
Right. A lot of this,
and that's
a
where
lot of the Jewish ancestry and even like throughout the Old Testament, this is all happening.
And even
in
the
Israel.
secular atheist Jews would still say it's our traditional homeland.
Mm-hmm.
And they would argue that throughout the 19th century and early 20th century, they bought and purchased the land.
Fairly.
They would say fairly. And then, but of course now, if you were to read this, the Ilan Pape book, he's saying, he calls it ethnic cleansing, where they would buy the land and then they would attack and push out the Palestinians who were there.
Right.
The Jews would say, no, we just evicted them from their land. And when war happened, yes, things got violent. So like 700,000 Palestinians are going to be evicted and forcibly moved in between those two middle maps there.
Right.
And so Israel's going, well, we were just fighting for our independence and freedom. And the Arab side is going, well, no, we were just trying to right the wrong that the UN did.
Right.
So the UN.
So how would Israel been kind of divided up as a country? Does anybody have a Bible map here somewhere? Biblical times map.
Oh, like the tribes?
Yeah, like because obviously the Palestinian people feel claim to this land as well. So what is kind of the shape?
I mean, you're making a good point because the Judah tribe, which the Jews are descended from, because the other 10 tribes are wiped out. The other 10 tribes were northern tribes.
Right.
So the Judahites, they're from the south, right?
Mm-hmm.
So their traditional territory, I don't know exactly, but the tribe of Judah isn't it King David's tribe? Right? Like,
yes.
Right? The scepter of Judah, like Jesus is descendant of. So that would be in the Jerusalem area.
Right.
So yeah, they don't actually, I mean, it's a good point. It's a point that a lot of people are making now. There, it's like, well, how do you know that, like, Bibi Netanyahu is actually descended from, the actual Jews from 3,000 years ago?
Right.
When they've moved up to Europe and they move back down.
This seems like this problem can just be solved by 23andMe.
Yeah, it's just a genealogy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the UN meets and they pass Resolution 181, and they actually endorse this partition, the UN plan, and they're like, "Hey, well, this solves it." And yeah, so I mean, we can either end there. Maybe let's do one more little crisis. We'll take a look at this here. So Judah is the whole southern tribe there.
Right.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're right. It eventually becomes the southern kingdom, right? The two kingdoms are split up. And so there's Israel in the north and Judah in the south.
Okay.
Right. So that's Jerusalem is the northernmost part there. And there you go. So you could even argue like that's all the current Jews have claim to. I wouldn't say it. Whoops. But that's of course not where people actually live, right?
Right. So we're just bumping up against each other here.
Well, and this is also the issue is like, are we going back to what the Bible wants? And Tucker Carlson was interviewing Mike Huckabee, who is the ambassador from the U.S. to Israel right now. And he's, Mike Huckabee was arguing that, like, well, as long as Israel can, like, conquer and hold what they want, they should just get to have whatever the biblical territory is. But then the biblical territory of Israel could be argued it's the kingdom of David or Solomon, which, Dan, if you could quickly see if you could pull up, like, what does the kingdom of Solomon or even the empire of Solomon look like?
Dan, can you click on that ad?
You have two moves.
That pop up. Kingdom of Solomon.
Sick. Great film. Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, at its height, you could say like that is all the kingdom of Israel. So now it's including, parts of Iraq and Syria and Lebanon and going well north as well.
I remember the days when
Of Elijah.
Alexander the Great was going through Tyre.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Simple.
Good-
Okay,
good
let's
old
skip
Tyre
ahead a little bit,
days.
and then we'll call her a day. So,
Yeah.
Okay, we won't get to the 1967 war today. Okay, yeah, let's go there. So, okay, so meanwhile, armies are starting to coalesce. Let's head into the 1950s. So Israel is getting stronger, and their military is getting stronger, but
And
Egypt.
America's going to the cinema.
So.
We need a little relief. Just
Yeah, that was
uh,
such a good
a
relief.
little American
that was
graffiti
such
moment.
A good, yeah. So, a guy emerges,
sleep,
and I think I have some pictures of him actually. Go forward a bit there, Dan.
Oh, we love a good picture.
Let's go to a picture. A guy emerges. Not him.
Oh.
Not him. Him. Okay. So that is.
Times Man of the Year.
Yeah, that is Gamal Abdul Nasser. Okay.
Yeah, I know the name.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
Well, you just know him from History 12, yeah.
Yeah.
So he becomes the nationalist leader of Egypt, and he emerges as really the leader of the Arab world.
Okay.
And so we're going to head into the 1950s here, and what he's going to do is he's going to nationalize the Suez Canal, which is run and built by the French and the British. And
It's amazing what humans do.
It is
Building those
amazing.
Canals.
And he wants to build this powerful dam, the Aswan Dam, that will provide power for his country. And so he's kind of like, now we're in the Cold War, so I think he eventually gets like the Soviets to help him pay for it. And he's kind of going back in between the U.S. and
Nice.
Soviet Union. But he nationalizes the Suez Canal. So Israel's actually going to invade Sinai. They're gonna want, I don't know why, but they're gonna want to take over the Sinai Peninsula. I do know why. They want access to the Gulf of Suez and Gulf of Aqaba, and there's probably oil in there. I don't know. And they're gonna unite with the British and the French. The Israelis are.
Okay.
So they're gonna attack and invade. They actually wanted to open the Straits of Tiran as well, which are lower. But so the British and French are going to attack Egypt to try and secure the Suez Canal for themselves, because they're like, this is our access. It's how we get all the way to India. There's the spices are over there. We need the spices.
Yeah.
They're in the sweet world. This is a wild moment because you start to see the shift in power. Britain and France have run the world for centuries.
So this is nationalized, and they want to make it theirs.
because Egypt's going, it's ours now.
Oh.
Right, that's what, and so Britain and France is like, I say bad job, the old colonialism. So they actually do paratroopers. It's an absolute mess.
Oh.
The British are terrible at fighting in the desert. Their tanks are getting stuck. Gamal Abdul Nasser kind of makes him look like a fool. And so this is wild because the U.S. and the Soviet Union are able to apply diplomatic pressure and sanctions to the French and British, and are like, get out of there.
Yeah.
Like you can't actually just do this. And so the British actually leave, and Nasser emerges as this powerful, victorious Arab nationalist leader. Let's actually maybe we'll speed up, and I want to go through this crazy war super quick here of the 6-Day War, because so Israel kind of gets its hands smacked there, and but Israel does gain short-term freedom of navigation, but they start to really amp up their support of the U.S., and this is where they're like, okay, the British are old news. It's time to really get the Jewish lobby going in the United States, and we'll get support for them.
Okay.
Okay, so there's some. Okay, let's do this quickly here. Basically,
Take your time.
basically, Israel deems there's certain threats from the Arab world as the 60s go on. What year's the Munich crisis? Isn't it? Oh no, that's not till the 70s. But the Munich hostage crisis.
Yes. Starring
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Famous film.
beautiful film.
Is that a bad film?
It's a good movie.
Yeah. I don't remember.
So Israel
don't remember it
thinks
very well.
that, especially from Egypt, that an attack is imminent. It's coming. This is now we're fast forwarding to the 60s.
Right.
So they launch a preemptive strike, And this is where Israel's going to demonstrate its absolute military capability. Like, it's just untouchable. So, yeah, at 7:45 on June 5th, 1967, the Israelis launch Operation Focus. They wipe out the Egyptian Air Force in, like, one strike. Like, it's gone. They invade the Sinai again. Then on day 2, they invade Jordan and take over the West Bank. Dan, if you want to fast forward a little bit. Day 3 and 4, they consolidate. They take over Gaza. In day 5 and 6, they take over the Golan Heights, which is the northern area. It's kind of South Lebanon there.
Like they're fully in control of these areas.
So look at this. Like, they do this in 6 days. Look at the before and after. And this is where it's like, okay, so now we get to this idea of like, realpolitik of like, all right, so yes, maybe the Arabs have a better claim to the land, but can they actually hold it? Because apparently no one can stop Israel when they're determined to do something.
Yeah.
Like, if they want to, they can actually just quadruple their territory seemingly overnight. Like, this is humiliating for Jordan, for Lebanon, for Syria, for Egypt. I mean, it's a brutal, they lose. And then, of course, once again, every time there's a war, whether it's the Sinai crisis or the War of Independence, more Palestinians are getting uprooted, sent into refugee camps, forced, displaced, all that kind of stuff. So now, this is the UN's, of course, going to have to get involved, and they're going to make some of the territory given back, and they're going to be like, well, let's establish this. And, in 1963 or 64, the Palestinian Liberation Organization is formed with Yasser Arafat. We'll talk about him in the next episode, but this is where we'll leave it today in is this part 1 or 2?
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out later.
I'll make
but we are essentially,
we've
done the heavy lifting where we have like the causes. And in our second part, or part 3 and 4, the next time we talk, we can look at sort of the more modern era and how there's just this continual war now going on because of the seeds sown by the various empires that have controlled this area, specifically the British.
It's always the British fault.
Well, not always. Remember Kermit? You don't remember that, do you?
I don't.
Remember when Kermit and James Bond, they overthrew the Iranian government?
The frog? This is
we're gonna clip it.
We're gonna clip that one. We gotta clip that one. That was
Why do the Muppets gotta make a movie about everything?
Yeah, the Muppets go to Tehran.
Come with me, Kermit. I'm gonna take you on a walk to remember.
So that's I'm getting old. So that is as good as we can do. That's the first half of the story. Any thoughts, John? Any questions? I mean, it's pretty easy to see how history rhymes in this sentence.
Well, of course, it's all unfolding right before our eyes. It seems like it is a fascinating thing what a focal point this place has been throughout history. It's almost as if it's important.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, in the not
you can understand why people get really wrapped up in all this stuff and start to find get they take it seriously.
Well, and for better or for worse, it still has religious overtones to it, like, and not even undertones. Like, people want to say it's just a secular, political, or land thing, but for Christian Zionists in the United States specifically, they're going, the Jews are God's people, and we need to. I mean, as Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, was talking to Tucker Carlson, he was like, I form, like, there's a verse in the Bible that says, those who bless Israel will be blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker Carlson's, it's a famous clip, and Tucker Carlson's like, and what part of the Bible that's in? Ted's like, I don't know the exact verse. He's like, well, it's in Genesis. He's like, and of course, that ancient state of Israel, which in Genesis would have been the family of Israel, like Jacob is called Israel, which means to struggle with God, is not the current state of Israel.
Right.
And so in many ways, this is an ancient conflict. In other ways, it's an extremely recent and modern conflict.
Right. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of reasons that draw people to it, particularly nations who want to conquer it or own it, whatever it may be. But it does seem like it is a fascinating thing. That's why I asked at the beginning: are there resources here are there resources here that are abundant to the like that's usually what most people go conquering for is resources.
Kind of,
but there's just this powerful cultural, religious like kind of draw there. It is this gravity point. For so
it is
much
a central.
history.
It's a central trading. Like you're able to access the south. Like it's all. But look at the access to water they have
They got
on the
lots of
Mediterranean.
nice
I mean, there is
Mediterranean
this
stuff there.
idea that like the Jews came and like learned how to farm and they were able to get more out of the earth.
Yeah,
than
that's what a big
Palestinian-
thing I've heard. Yeah, so they cultivated the land.
I would say that's. Like the Arabs were farming quite well before.
Right.
Like it's not like the Jews showed up.
But that's
all these
one of the
professors are like,
narratives you
let's read
hear.
a book and we'll like no.
Oh, it needs nitrogen.
Like I don't. And maybe some people can be like, yes, the Jews figured out how to work the soil. I think the Arab farmers who had been there since the 600s probably knew something about farming the soil.
Right.
But
that is one of one of the prevailing stories I've heard about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think once again the Jews would have been much more organized. They're much more efficient. They've had 3 millennia of having to protect themselves and survive. So that's going to breed a lot of resourcefulness and ability to figure things out no matter what. And once again, they're working at the highest levels in diplomacy, sending like the Zionist organizations are international. They're working to gain support. The Palestinians are not doing that.
Yes,
They're kind
pretty.
of just like, well, it's our land. Like, why would we? Oh, we're getting displaced again.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's all this like conversations happening without them there at the table.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does sound like a complicated thing that certainly does require multiple episodes to keep it going. But
we'll see you next week.
I guess so, yeah. But very, very interesting stuff. I have nothing else to ask right now. I'm
tired.
Be educated. And I have learned a lot today, folks. I hope you've learned a lot from Professor Tom today. It's been a really interesting episode. There will be more to come. This story doesn't end here, as you all know, and it seems we're living through it today. The story is still being written. And I guess we'll find out how it rhymes next week.
God bless.
God bless.
Thank you for joining us for the History Rhymes podcast, possibly the greatest podcast in history. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, catch you later, historians.